Politically incorrect, Tim Allen. Actress, Victoria Rowell. Crossfire co-host, Bill Press. And GOP strategist, Ed Rollins. And now, the star of Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher.
Thank you. Oh, boy. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you so much. Well, thank you. Hey, good news for our friends back there in Washington. And we get so many of our issues from back there in Washington, we really ought to owe them this. But they had good news today. You know, that city has been in terrible financial trouble. Well, the Clinton administration is bailing them out to the tune of $3.9 billion for Washington, D.C. And Mayor Marion Barry was so happy that he presented Clinton with a kilo to the city. Now, you must have been following this Newt Gingrich phone tap tape thing, right? That story, that just gets worse and worse. The guy, Jim McDermott, the congressman who got the tape, he quit the House Ethics Committee, and Gingrich was mad today. He said these phone taps are another example of the Democrats stealing Republican ideas. You know, like Nixon used to do it. Anyway, well, that Florida couple who did the tapping, they have been telling more and more about what happened. Apparently what it was is they were on a long car trip, and on the car trip they were listening to their police scanner and taping it. Boy, that's when you really know your sex life is over, doesn't it? When you're on a long car trip and your wife's hands are all over the radio. Well, more riots in South Korea. Have you seen that? Terrible. Most of them are about labor unrest, but yesterday the riots are something different. What happened was they had a big premiere for the opening of 101 Dalmatians, and 15,000 people showed up and tried to eat them. So it's terrible. I kid, please. Oh, please. We joke. All peoples we kid. We love all. And finally, O.J. Simpson has finished his testimony, apparently feeling pretty good about himself because he showed up at the court today and he opened the car door and he was blaring Ike Turner. I mean, that is just wrong. Anyway, thanks for coming. It's all been satirized for your protection. Welcome to the show, and let's bring our panel. First, he is the former chairman of the California Democratic Party. Now he represents the left on CNN's Crossfire. Bill Press, right over here. Bill, good to see you again. Thank you. All right, he is one of the best-known political strategists and campaign managers in America. His bestseller is called Bare Knuckles and Backrooms. Ed Rollins. Hey, Ed. Good to see you again. Thank you very much. By day, she is Drusilla Winters on The Young and Restless. By night, she is Dr. Amanda Livingston on Diagnosis Murder. Actress Victoria Rowell, right over here. Hiya, gorgeous.
Hello.
Thank you very much. And finally, he is the star of ABC's #1 rated show, Home Improvement. He's also a best-selling author whose new book is called I'm Not Really Here. And may I say, he's also one of the earliest supporters of our show, said it should be on this network, and now it is. Tim Allen. Yes, sir. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Now, let me get to this issue, which we wanted to do yesterday because it's been front-page news for about a week, which is the Citadel. I'm sure you're aware of the background of the story. The Supreme Court said women had to be admitted, and now 4 were and 2 have left because they say they were harassed. Now, the Citadel says this is what we call hazing. Some of the things they did, they poured Clorox in their mouth.
Character building.
Character building. They set their clothes on fire. They made them sing offensive songs, all by Leo Sayer, by the way. And made them do an encore. No. But, I mean, the military's answer to this, and many folks, is that hazing is harassment in the military. Like you say, character building. That this is what they do to men, women, or in between, and therefore they shouldn't complain about it. What? You're shaking your head.
I honestly think that anybody who wants to go to one of those dumb military schools in the first place gets what they deserve, you know? I mean, what is it?
Well, but I might add that
man or woman.
But I'm not sure that you're getting the real story from these guys, you know. If they really wanted the women there, then it would be just like one of the other guys. But I think they pick on who they devalue the most. Like if either be the thinnest guy, the nerdiest guy.
Sure.
So you're not probably getting the entire story. I'm not sure the other cadets gargle with Clorox.
Right. They don't want them there anyway.
This is the story from the women, though. The 2 women who quit.
But you're not hearing what the guys do to the other guys. You know, maybe the Clorox to them is ginger ale.
Worse?
I don't think they're giving you the whole story. I don't think these guys want them there anyway. So they're giving them the worst treatment.
The tragedy of this is women have done extremely well in the military academies. As a matter of fact, a year ago, the #1 student coming out of West Point was a woman who was the commandant. And the problem here is the Citadel, the last great soldiers they turned out were for the Confederate, clearly did not want.
They're still fighting that war.
They clearly did not.
Over a little bit?
They clearly did not want women here, and I think it's unreasonable to set people on fire. I think to say that you're worried, and whether
I'll have to agree with him
and
there.
whether it's nail polish or napalm, I just don't think the guys would stand up and be quite as brave and courageous either. They were being set on fire, so I think it's unfortunate. I think if they let 50 or 100 women in these classes, that wouldn't be the problem. When you put 4 into a class in which they obviously are extremely harassed, then I think you're going to have long-term problems.
You don't think what?
Well, I just didn't think we want to sanitize these military schools or sort of deflower these military schools. I think we ought to get rid of the military schools in the first place. We don't need military schools anymore.
Why is hazing necessary?
Why is hazing necessary? I think that it's deadly. Why? It's deadly. People die in universities and colleges across the country yearly.
No, in colleges it's stupid. You're talking about fraternities, but we are trying to build. Yes, I mean that's right. But we're talking about building a deadly killing machine, which is what our army has to be. You have to prepare somebody
to gargle Clorox.
To gargle Clorox.
It's very often.
Obviously, with the Clinton defense cuts, I was in the Reagan administration. We had real weapons, and obviously we don't anymore in the Clinton administration. So you're back fighting with nail polish and Clorox.
No, but
there are fewer people killed with nail polish than with bazookas.
Build that particular character.
Yeah, no.
I think
you're because if a guy won't swallow Clorox, then how's he going to rush a machine gun nest? You have to
Well, how's he going to do much else after swallowing? He won't be able to do a lot of things after he swallows Clorox.
I just think I wonder if the other men gargle Clorox. I think they give these women a particularly hard time because they give the Citadel a hard time. You know, they don't. I don't think they really want them there, so they make up this stuff.
I wonder if it's because the women wouldn't give them something else.
Yeah. You mean like ice cream or something like that, huh?
Made them a little.
Well, I mean, vomit in the mouth. That's one of the things they were talking about. What does this prepare you? This prepares you for combat?
Yes, because what would
your own vomit maybe in your mouth?
What would you rather do? If you're in a foxhole and your commanding officer says, "Go toward that flying metal. Go toward those bullets. Get out of your hole and run toward where the metal is flying at you." You have to be broken down to a point where you don't question that. Now, what's worse, doing that or swallowing a little Clorox?
I fail to believe that these kids. I know. I don't accept your premise. I fail to believe that these kids who spend 4 years dressing up in these little suits and running around like little Nazis and Boy Scouts are any good for combat. I think the whole thing's a joke.
Ed, you're a Marine.
My problem is where I went to school. I went to Chico State College, and we drank Clorox, and we couldn't get gasoline. That was a drink of choice, so it was sort of a...
Weren't you in the Marines?
No, I was not in the Marines.
Oh, but you've known some Marines.
I've known some Marines. I worked for some Marines. I was in Don Regan's White House. He was the colonel in the Marine Corps.
Well, say you're in the Marines. Just pretend you're in the Marines.
I don't want to say it. I have great admiration for it. The problem, I think, today is, and I don't disagree with the fact that the military academies have great tradition, and even the ones like the state-run, like the Citadel and VMI. But the traditions have to change. And I think the bottom line is when women have had the opportunity to use the high-technology weapons, which is what the wars are about. You don't climb in foxholes anymore, and you don't go after machine gun nests.
I don't know about that.
You fly, and war's never been pretty. But the bottom line is the women have performed extremely well when they have been given the fair opportunity of training. And I don't think these women have been given a fair opportunity. And I think that's, and the school better examine itself, basically.
Okay. We will take a break and we'll come back.